He wrote to the newspapers. He wrote to the newspapers. He wrote to the police. He wrote to a lawyer. He wrote to an actor. Between 1969 and 1974, the man known as the Zodiac sent at least 21 letters. He included ciphers that took 51 years to decode. He included swatches of his victims' clothing. He included a piece of a cab driver's shirt. He claimed to have killed 37 people. 5 were confirmed. He was never identified. He was never caught. He may still be alive. This is not a story about the murders. This is a story about the letters. Because the letters tell us everything we need to know about who he was. The Zodiac Killer. San Francisco in 1969 was a city in transition. The summer of love was 2 years past. The Haight-Ashbury was quieter now. The city was still beautiful, still chaotic, still full of young people who believed the world was changing. It was also a city that had 3 major newspapers: the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, the Vallejo Times-Herald. The Zodiac understood something that most killers do not understand. He understood that the newspapers were the internet of 1969. He understood that if he wrote to them, the whole city would read his words. He wrote to them. The whole city read his words. And the whole city was afraid. The killings began in December 1968. David Faraday was 17 years old. Betty Lou Jensen was 16. They were parked on a remote road in Benicia, California, on their first date. They were shot and killed. No one was arrested. 7 months later, on the 4th of July, 1969, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were shot in a parking lot in Vallejo. Ferrin died. Mageau survived. He described a stocky man with light brown hair. In September, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were attacked at Lake Berryessa. The attacker wore a hood with a crossed circle symbol on the chest. Shepard died. Hartnell survived. In October, cab driver Paul Stein was shot in the head in San Francisco. A piece of his shirt was mailed to the Chronicle 2 weeks later. On August 1st, 1969, 3 letters arrived simultaneously at 3 different newspapers. Each was identical. Each began the same way. I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman and the girl last 4th of July. Each letter contained 1/3 of a 408-character cipher. The writer demanded that the newspapers print the ciphers on their front pages. If they did not, he would go on a kill rampage this weekend. The newspapers printed the ciphers. A high school teacher named Donald Harden and his wife, Betty, solved the Z408 cipher within 8 days. The decoded message read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all." The same letter introduced a name. "I shall not give you my name, but you will not stop me catching and killing people till I kill a dozen." He signed it with a crosshair symbol, a circle with a cross through it. Within weeks, newspapers began calling him the Zodiac. He had not chosen the name himself, but he adopted it immediately. Every letter after that was signed, the Zodiac. He wore the name like a costume, like a performer taking the stage. On November 8, 1969, the Zodiac mailed a new cipher to the Chronicle. It was 340 characters long. It became known as the Z340. For 51 years, no one could solve it. Professional cryptographers failed. Government agencies failed. Amateur codebreakers spent decades on it. Then, in December 2020, a team of 3 volunteers led by a software developer named David Orenchak cracked it. The decoded message read, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise all the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me." He believed, or claimed to believe, that his victims would serve him in the afterlife. He was collecting souls. Read the letters carefully, and a personality emerges. The Zodiac was educated. His spelling was inconsistent in ways that suggest deliberate misdirection rather than ignorance. He used words like paradise and rampage and dangerous animal, and all of these words were chosen. He was performing. The crosshair symbol, the dramatic demands to the newspapers, the ciphers, the pieces of clothing enclosed as proof. None of this is the behavior of a man simply trying to avoid capture. A man trying to avoid capture does not write to newspapers. This is the behavior of a man who wanted to be the most frightening thing in a city's imagination. He wanted to be everywhere, in every home, every conversation, every breakfast table where someone opened the Chronicle. Of all the letters, one stands out. In November 1969, the Zodiac wrote to attorney Melvin Belli. The tone was different from all the others. It was quieter, almost plaintive. It read, "Dear Melvin, this is the Zodiac speaking. I wish you a happy Christmas. One thing I ask of you is this. Please help me. I cannot reach out, for I know you will not believe me. I am afraid I will lose control again and take my 9th and possibly 10th victim." He signed it with the crosshair. The letter sounded like a man at the edge of something, like someone asking to be stopped. Whether it was genuine or theater, no one has ever been able to determine. But it is the only letter in which the Zodiac sounds human. On the night of October 11th, 1969, after shooting cab driver Paul Stein in Presidio Heights, the Zodiac was seen. Two police officers, Donald Fuch and Eric Zelms, passed a man walking calmly away from the scene. The police radio had incorrectly described the suspect as a black male. The man they saw was white. Fuch looked at him. They drove past. Moments later, the dispatcher corrected the description. Fuch turned around. The man was gone. Donald Fuch would spend the rest of his career thinking about that moment. He described the man as stocky, 5'8", reddish-brown hair, wearing glasses. That description is all we have. A face seen in the dark by an officer who drove past. In October 1969, the Zodiac sent a letter threatening to attack a school bus. "I shall wipe out a school bus some morning. Just shoot out the front tire and then pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out." Police began escorting school buses. The city was in a state of controlled panic. And then nothing happened. No school bus was attacked. The threat was never carried out. Was it another performance? Another way to make an entire city do what he wanted? He had made New Orleans play jazz. The Zodiac made San Francisco guard its children. 2 killers, 2 cities, 2 different rituals of public fear. 100 miles and 50 years apart. The prime suspect has always been Arthur Leigh Allen. He was identified by Robert Graysmith, a cartoonist at the Chronicle, who became obsessed with the case and wrote the definitive book on it in 1986. Allen was a school teacher and mechanic from Vallejo. He was a convicted child molester. He had been seen near Lake Berryessa. A friend claimed Allen had told him, before the murders began, that he wanted to hunt humans, that he wanted to call himself Zodiac. He owned a Zodiac brand watch with the crossed circle logo. In 1991, investigators searched his home and found bomb-making materials. He died in 1992. His DNA did not match samples found at the crime scene. Arthur Leigh Allen was never charged. The case remains open. The last confirmed letter from the Zodiac arrived in January 1974. It referenced the film The Exorcist. It included a quote from the musical The Mikado. It was calm, almost satisfied. It mentioned a body count. And then the Zodiac stopped writing. He was never heard from reliably again. Some researchers believe he died. Some believe he was imprisoned for an unrelated crime. Some believe he simply stopped, the way a performer leaves a stage when the audience grows bored. The San Francisco Police Department officially closed the active investigation in 2004. They reopened it in 2007. It has never been solved. Of the 4 ciphers the Zodiac sent, 2 remain unsolved: the Z13 and the Z32. The Z13 is 13 characters long. It may contain his name or his location, or it may be meaningless, a final joke, a last performance with no punchline. The Z32 is 32 characters. It may describe the location of a bomb he claimed to have buried, or it may be another misdirection. In 2020, when David Orenchak's team cracked the Z340 after 51 years, the world paid attention. The Z13 trended on social media. Amateur codebreakers descended on it again. It has not yet been solved. The answer may be in 13 symbols. It may be nothing at all. Only the Zodiac knew, and the Zodiac is gone. Psychologists and FBI profilers have spent decades analyzing the Zodiac's letters. They tell us certain things. He was likely white, male, between 25 and 35 at the time of the murders. He was intelligent but not formally educated. He craved attention in a specific way. Not admiration, not fear exactly. He wanted to be the most interesting thing in the room. He wanted to be the puzzle no one could solve. He was not killing for the kills. He was killing for the letters. The murders were the price of admission to the public stage he wanted. That is a specific and unusual psychology. Most serial killers avoid attention. The Zodiac invited it, and the city could not look away. San Francisco never forgot the Zodiac. The Chronicle never threw away the letters. They are archived. They have been digitized. You can read them today. The crosshair symbol appears on T-shirts and in films. David Fincher made a movie about the case in 2007. It is one of the most acclaimed films about an unsolved crime ever made. The Zodiac wanted to be everywhere in San Francisco's imagination. He wanted to be the thing people thought about when they thought about danger. He achieved that. More than 50 years later, every city in America has heard of the Zodiac. Very few have heard of his victims. He knew that would happen too. Return to the decoded message of the Z340. I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise all the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me. This is the motive he gave himself. He was collecting souls. His victims would serve him in the next life. This is not a rational belief, but it is a consistent one. It appears in the first decoded cipher, and it appears in the Z340. 2 years apart, the same theology. Whether he believed it literally or whether it was another layer of the performance, we cannot know. But he said it twice. That matters. The Zodiac haunts us because he understood something about the modern world before the modern world existed. He understood that the story is the weapon, that words in a newspaper can terrify a city more effectively than any number of bodies. He understood that the mystery is more powerful than the answer. If he had been caught, he would have become a court case, a mugshot, a sentencing. Instead, he became a legend, a ghost, a crosshair symbol on a piece of paper. He manufactured his own mythology with 21 letters and a handful of murders. And the mythology has outlasted everyone involved. The officers who searched for him, the survivors who described him, the newspapers that printed his words, all of them aged and died. The Zodiac is exactly as young as the day he mailed his first letter. We say their names: David Faraday, 17 years old; Betty Lou Jensen, 16 years old; Darlene Ferrin, 22 years old; Cecilia Shepard, 22 years old; Paul Stein, 29 years old. These are the confirmed victims. There may have been others. The Zodiac claimed 37. We will likely never know the true number. They were young people in California in the 1960s who went on dates and took cab rides and walked by the lake in the evening. and someone chose them. The Zodiac wanted to be remembered. He is. But we will not let him be the only one remembered. We say their names first. If you have a theory about who the Zodiac was, write it in the comments. If you want more cases from the years when America was learning what it was capable of, subscribe to The Cold Lamp. The next case is darker than this one. We will see you there.